it's wheeling.
All right.
Live. And we're live. Well, good
All
evening, chat. There were a couple of people, even in the post I made for this, that were just like, nope, I am out of this conversation. You know, I'm assuming these are just guys that are just like, I'm looking at $7,000 of 300 black to my left right now. I'm not doing any of that. But for those of you that don't know, in our little panel here, we're going to start with Nick. He was my former editor, got really tired of keeping up with my friggin' nonsense, so he trained my wife to do it, and now she has to deal with my nonsense. And her comments in the videos are getting spicier by the minute.
A little bit.
We have M26 Lemon Grenade, who builds tons of AK stuff. He is a walking, talking encyclopedia on builds and a lot of different purposes for AK things in general. Mans was invasion-era Marine infantry, and he spent some time in friggin' Fallujah doing the dance there. And we also have Firearms and Fitness. This guy has routinely done everything in his power to ship me or get me to review as much trash as possible.
That's the best kind.
And as a no, by the way, he's the inspiration for this stream in the first place, because we had a rather long talk about how much 300 is less than good for a lot of sets of circumstances. So now, as we go through this, we're going to have a discussion on each individual point here. I sent them a list of questions. In the middle of that, I said something to keep in mind. We understand that there is a military component and a civilian component to 300 black, but people need to understand that there's a difference between the two. And to the panel that we have here, we can understand this perfectly, right? But a lot of times we see, especially in the civilian world, I'm not trying to say that one is better than the other. What I am trying to say is that there's a different, like, what's good for one can be not good for the other. So let's go ahead and lead off with all of this. And like, as I go through these questions one at a time, we'll get the whole panel to go first. And then I will go with my thoughts on that, right? And we'll just mill about and have a discussion until we move on. And the first one is, and for some reason, I get a lot of conflicting comments on this, is what is 300 black actually designed to do? Anybody can start, but if I'm forced to pick somebody, it'll be Nick, because he is a recovering 300 black guy, and we'll just sort of go from there.
I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
I'll go. I mean, look, it's in theory was originally intended to deliver more energy than standard 5.56 at close ranges, but also be quiet when you suppress it. That's what it was for. Whether it does that or not is, up for discussion.
I was talking about this earlier with you. I remember reading about it back in like 2012 or 13 magazine article. And if you think of the context, we were trying to do things to keep the basic M4 platform, but beef up the caliber. So you had things like the 6.8 SPC, which I was a big fan of. You had things like 6.5 Grendel. They were shoehorning that into an AR. So, the caveats to those is you got to change the bolt, you got to change the magazines. So this, I remember reading about this, AAC was trying to develop something from the 300 Whisper that could be standardized where you're using the same magazines and bolts. So you have the minimum amount of parts changes to still sling a 30 caliber round out of your gun that doesn't involve a bunch of shenanigans to get 7.62 by 39 to run in there, because that sucks. So I get the purpose, I get the idea of it. It's just a way to throw a bigger, heavier, beefier round out of your standard AR without doing a bunch of changes. So I get it, but I'm not a fan.
I forgot about 300 Whisper.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. You stole that from me. I'm kidding. But I'm a lot less charitable than the both of you are towards this. This is my opinion on it. because I do remember the age where 5.56, 2.23 pipsqueak round is only meant for wounding. All right, and if you choose that, you're wrong. The only reason the military went to that is because it wounds, take more people out of the fight by recovering and whatnot. And everybody's like, we want more lethal, more lethal. And I remember the 6.8 coming out, and people kind of liked it. 300 Blackout. I remember
Loved
6.5
it.
Rendell. Yeah, 6.5 Rendell. I remember that was kind of a cool round. Little niche, but it was kind of a cool round. I remember 50 Beowulf, if anybody remembers that.
We
And
were
then
talking about getting those in Iraq for stopping vehicles back in like
yeah,
05, I think.
That was one of
yep,
the that was
from
one of the
Adam.
big
Was it
reasons for
Anderson Arms or
wanting
something like that? It was
Alexander, I
Adam
think.
Arms,
Alexander.
Alexander Arms, something like that. But either way, this is my personal opinion on it. It was made because 7.62 just didn't work super well in a AR because the mags either weren't working funky. It would shear off lugs or something like that. So we wanted to make an American 7.62 by 39, and then we just did a piddly ass job with it. That's my personal opinion. Is there things that it's designed to do? Sure, it's cool that it can go subsonic and then supersonic on paper, but like in practicality, I don't see a big. I'm of the opinion that it's a caliber that was designed for an answer that nobody asked the question to.
So, fun fact, what's been going on is the orbit around the answer. The original requirement, right? For 300 black is almost like a special operations M14 as far as the original requirements for the M14. The M14 was originally designed to replace like a long list of guns, right?
Mhm.
And it ended up not doing that great of a job across the board. In this particular case, like the special operations requirement for 300 black was, okay, so if we're on a raid and we're trying to get closer, the MP5 SD is to knock down like the guy that's outside, right?
Mhm.
Get everybody a little bit closer. But when the fight's on, right, that guy either has to carry something else or we have to find a way to drag it in closer, and you're not always capable of doing it, right? But it also has to have the capability of doing the Mark 18's job, right? So the idea was to fill both jobs, to start with the one and then with the other, right? So you have like the best possible performance that you could get out of a subsonic submachine gun, right? It's suppressed, you can knock that first guy down, and then when the fight's on, you go to a supersonic caliber and do the thing, right? Now, what's interesting about all of that really is that we know enough about, how guns and in particular ARs work now to where if you're trying to achieve both tasks, you're talking about a multi-roll caliber, which means I need to know 2 different types of dope. I need to make sure that the loads that I'm using are consistent across the board. And what is also kind of interesting is a lot of guys within these teams would actually carry a dot on a dot or a dot next to a dot, and that you have a rollover for that's zeroed to your suppressed stuff, right? And this gun is more or less tuned to barely run the subsonic stuff. So if you have like a clean gun, you have a few maximum 100 rounds that you could fire through the thing before it starts to choke, which makes sense given the thought process, right? But then fights on, it's going to kind of cycle like shit, but you could still run it. It's going to recoil hard, especially considering how short it is, right? Because like the supersonic loads, you have like max burn out of like 9 inches worth of barrel.
That was the plan.
Right. And what it turns into is that both calibers kind of recoil like shit, but we can do the job. And now the MP5 SD, the MP5 basically in general, is now relegated to, okay, the teams learn it so that they can teach foreign guys how to use it. And now this fills that job to where if I have MP5 SD stuff to do, unless you're in the Navy and you have like shipboarding stuff to do, this just fills that tasker, right? And in a military context, if you are these people, my opinion on it, honestly, is that this is a great caliber, right? We've learned that you can't just straight up use regular M4 magazines on them now, because the followers are themselves, like the actual lip on the follower is just a shade too long. So guys have come out with 300 black magazines, right? Which literally the difference between a 5.56 magazine and 300 black magazines is that the follower itself is like millimeters, barely plural, shorter.
I mean, can you just use a 300 black for 5.56? I'm not that in tune with it.
So you can, right? But you invite a lot of problems as far as heating is concerned, in particular when they get used a lot.
Yeah, the other issue is sometimes with heavier subsonic loads, the overall length is just a tiny bit more, and so you can run into feeding issues unless you get the purpose designed magazines.
So you do need to have two separate mags to run reliably.
Yeah, it's
almost
like
always.
It's kind of like putting a sealed can on a carbine length Mark 18. It's gonna run, but you're basically on a timer before you start running into problems.
Gotcha.
Especially
I
if
don't
the
like
gun,
the point.
yeah, especially if the gun is canned up, and the second you start running supersonic ammunition out of this thing, these are really dirty rifles, like super dirty rifles.
I've also seen that like they don't like to run out of anything but a 20 round mag. 30
really?
rounds. Once it's dirty, and I mean like 2-3 mags in, because like Chris said there, it's a dirty fucking round. It's just, I don't know if it just doesn't have the spring pressure, or especially if you're running subs, it's too heavy for the spring that's normally run for a 55 grain 5.56 to just kind of adequately get it up there. But in competition, I've only seen, I think, 2 or 3 times a 300 Blackout run in a competition, and they all have done dog shit.
There's no real rhyme or reason, right? Like it's sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and it depends on the gun, it depends on the magazine, it depends on how old the magazine is, and it depends on the bullet.
So, and here's the thing about this, right? In a military context where you can contract this, right? Where it's like, I need these subs, I need these supers, I need these magazines by the thousands, please. To me, in a military context, this actually works great, right?
Yeah.
The thing is what I led off with before, is that what people are starting to do on the civilian side of the house, I'll lead this by saying this: buy whatever you want, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
None of us actually care.
Yeah, buy whatever you want. I have guns in the house that make no sense.
I'm an AK guy. Just saying.
There was a Draco sitting right there with a sure shot chassis on it, right? And my favorite AK caliber is 7.62 by 39, and that makes actually no sense for a lot of reasons other than it's good at breaking shit.
It's awesome at urban combat. That's why I love it.
Yeah, it's good at breaking stuff. Concrete, it turns into small fragmentation grenades now. It's great. That said, if you're an AK person, especially if you're a 30 caliber AK person right now, as we sit here today, you make no sense, right? Because the logistics aren't there. What I am saying, though, is that 300 black is a poor, and I mean a sorry, like pick a job that a civilian would want to shove it into, and it's poor at that.
I have one thing civilian side that it might actually be useful for. Sure. And this goes into police work, and this is a big maybe because I don't know how much data there is out on this. But the only thing I can really think it'd be okay for, or at least a little bit better for, is a patrol rifle setup for cops, because it might be better at auto glass and it might be better at soft skin vehicles.
Sure,
might. Sure. Considering a shorter barrel, getting it in and out of vehicles and whatnot. That's the, other than like I have some joke ones for civilians, like, if you want to go hunting with probably the worst round for hunting, other than a 22.
I mean, From what I understand, it's pretty good at smash and hug skulls in. But there again, so is a 30-30, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that's
but
and then
the
collectible
dominant,
or pet project.
yeah, the dominant thing that I see a lot of people shoving this caliber into really is the PDW, right?
Just
Now,
tag me.
here, and I'm sure that you'll have plenty to say in this, right? But here is the second question that we have on the list here, and that is, what is the actual job of a PDW? Like, what is, like, distilled down to a small blurb? What is a PDW supposed to do?
I'll go first on this one if everybody's cool with that.
Sure.
All right. So this is like I was working on a video for a PDW anyway, but these are my points that I'll make for a PDW. Right? It has to be small, handy, rifle, i.e., 3 to 4 points of contact. All right. That is easier to shoot than a pistol. Just straight across the board. You should be able to do either the same splits or better splits at greater distance than you normally would with a pistol. You should be able to own 0 to 25 yards. All right. You should be effective. And when I say own, you should be able to hit a C zone size target very quickly within that distance. All right. You should be effective out to 100 yards. So the round might not be as lethal, but putting rounds on somebody, still putting rounds on somebody at 100 yards, and you should be able to still hit him in a C zone area without much drop, without much assistance else needed. You have to have a high rate of fire. It should complicate armored targets, all right, more than a pistol would in some way, shape, or form. And that's either through just ballistically putting more on them or ballistically just having a better caliber. And it's got to be easily concealed and fired while in its compact form.
Okay.
So it must be able to fit like in a standard backpack and not be the only thing in that backpack. And it's pretty much a PDW to me.
Okay. What about you, Lemon?
Well, I mean, being an AK guy, PDW is like something like the crank. You know, it's the whole purpose of the crank was get the fuck off my tank. You know, that's as simple as it gets. Is, you know, I got some dude on my tank, just please get off. You know, there's absolutely no rhyme or reason behind the crank other than that. There's no, you know, standards. It's just I'm an armored crewman or you know, a helicopter pilot. It's just something that I can fold up, and if I really need something, I got it. This is something. This is interesting. Like we were, what's the BNT 9mm? The sub gun. It's like a pistol. You know
I
what
know
I'm
you're
talking
talking about, but I have no clue what it's
It's
called.
like BNT 9 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was getting out, they were talking about getting those for like truck drivers and stuff. You know, because they're like, well, why do we need M16s for the truck drivers? Just give them 9mm, you know, machine pistols. And they were testing them and everything. And I was just like, what happened to every Marine as a rifleman? Right? Like, why are we doing this?
Also, do you know where we are? What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, it's, and then I was talking to a guy that was part of the program, the trial program. Oh, I love it because when I'm on working party, I don't have a rifle to worry about. It's like, dude, you're in a combat zone. I mean, you kind of want a rifle. Like that 9mm ain't good. I mean, I'm biased because I was in Nazaria when that chick got captured. Christ, what's her name? She got taken for like a few weeks and stuff. You know, I imagine she would not have wanted just a 9mm machine pistol in that situation, right? Like,
Yeah.
but anyway, those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. You know.
Sure.
Jessica Lynch, I think it was.
Yeah. So we have thoughts on the smaller side of the house and essentially a subcompact carbine, right? And the interesting part about that is that there is actually a classification system to this. Ninehole did a really good job. Henry did a really good job on the actual classifications for this. But before I share my thoughts, Nick, what about you? What are your thoughts? Because
Yeah.
you've used a lot of different guns in this exact arena before.
Yeah, and my thoughts are evolving, but I think, it's something that is small and light and easy to maneuver, and that can throw a whole bunch of rounds in that direction at that guy real quick so that I can get the fuck out of wherever I need to get the fuck out of.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I had a friend of mine was a Bradley platoon commander, and they had the port firing rifle. You know what I'm talking about? It was like this this open bolt AR looking thing that didn't have any sights, and you were just supposed to like toggle it into the ports on the side of a Bradley, and that was their PDW. It was they showed me pictures, and it was just amazing, like how ridiculously like sketchy this thing is, right? Like it's open bolt, full auto only.
It sounds like badass. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah. It had a carry handle with no sights on it at all. Like it was nuts, and it's like that could be a PDW too.
Yeah, it was
like
strange looking even for like a stoner type rifle of it. Like it almost didn't look like one. Like you got to squint a little bit to be like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah, she put a gooseneck on it, so that she could put like an aim point on the front. It's like that's ridiculous. I love it. I want to clone it right now, but
well, and it's interesting, right? Because at the beginning of this conversation, right, there's a big difference between a military application and us.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I agree though, in a military capacity, PDWs have always been short rifles, right? Like it's interesting how the M4 carbine started itself out as a PDW. Now it's a mainline rifle, right? And I believe it's going to stay that way because the spear is a hunk of junk. But I guess that's a different stream.
You just don't see the future, sir.
A future where I require 2 charging handles on my rifle is one I don't want to be a part of, honestly.
And only one of them work.
Yeah. But as far as,
that's fine. You got 2 for a reason.
Oh yeah,
it's for a reason. You just got to figure out which one works.
What I would also love is magazines the size of hotel Bibles and a gun to eat itself.
That's your minor details. We're fine.
It's fine.
You're asking too much, sir. You're asking way too much. Here.
Yeah. Well,
didn't the Marines say nope? We're going to stick with the M4. I think I read that somewhere.
The M27.
That sounds.
The infantry are just like M20. The M27's fine.
You
guys that aren't using it, M4's fine. You can
keep your bullshit. We'll stick with this.
Yeah, and when the Marines
one time they don't want the new stuff,
you have a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as our capacity for what it is that we need, right, on the civilian side of the house, like your primary all the time is a handgun. Like that's just a fact. Like your primary all the time is a handgun. That's what you're out to get the milk with. That's when you're out and about with the family, all that stuff, right? So to me, in this working sense, right, on the military side of the house, a PDW is essentially a short rifle, which that can be filled on the civilian side of the house, but you start running into a lot of, well, can it hide, right? How difficult is it to get to, right? Because if I stick this in my car and I have to bury it under a pile of shit in order for it to not be seen, right? And then of course there's the additional layers to that where it's like, what if somebody breaks into my car? Am I just handing them a $4,000 rifle? Because you know it is. By the time people have they're suddenly captured, whatever the fuck in it, it's like a $4,000 gun, right? And that's an exaggeration, but barely. But even still, right? Okay, how hard is it to get to now, right? So to me, what a PDW needs to do is your handgun, as far as your individual skills with it, like you need to, like if it's 25 to, I'd say 40, right? Even 50, but that's like the edge of the ballistic performance for a pistol cartridge anyway, of like it actually doing what it's supposed to do versus aggressive hole punching. Those distances with a handgun need to basically be like throwaway bullets, right? In that I can just dependably hit a guy. Like you're asking me to hit a whole guy this time instead of that C zone plate like FNF was talking about, or the A zone plate that you bully yourself with or whatever, right? So at those distances, you need to basically, this needs to be like a throwaway skill. So to me, a PDW that is a pistol in a chassis is a no-go because it doesn't actually offer me anything substantial over what I can do with the handgun.
It looks sexy though.
Looks super cool.
It looks super cool. It's the Raider setup.
Yeah.
we can put an IR illuminator on there, Chris. You might need an IR illuminator.
Yep.
Do not even get me started on night gear.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh my God. The
all
first
matters looks good.
You know what? Fuck it. I'll say this. The first and finest way to ruin a PDW is to try and set it up with night gear. You don't have the space. You don't have the bullets. It's going to be a really bad time. A lot of people have figured this out already. But to me, right, like a pistol in a chassis system, unless you live a lot in life where like a 43X is your primary or smaller, they don't make any sense to me at all because genuinely what's on board, never mind the spare magazine that you carry or whatever, your handgun's job is to be extremely violent for like a guy. One, right?
Maybe two if you're lucky.
Maybe two if they're not really high on something. Right? But that's its whole point. That's the whole point of it, right? The spare magazine is if he's got, friends in this Waffle House parking lot or whatever. Right. Its whole job is the second that thing comes out, you have to be extremely violent for like a person. To me, the PDW, because of what it takes to actually get to it, needs to be able to do this times 2. And it needs to offer a substantial increase in effectiveness over the handgun. So this means a very short rifle that has better than pistol ballistics. So to me, 300 black gets tossed out the friggin' window because this suppressed 45, which is what it is, it just costs $1 million. But that 10.5 and 5.56 with Mark 262 is a big gun, right? And especially if you can it, because now it's just a rifle-sized thing now, right? Because you got a 16-inch barrel on it if you got a 6-inch can or whatever. So, and this is what is like interesting to me is that pistol caliber carbines also super suck, right? Like the reliability ain't there. The expense really ain't there. What it takes to make one run good really ain't there either. So what do we have then? And this is where the FRT at least comes to me. It comes into me because the subgun part makes no sense without the machine part in there, right?
Yeah.
So for me, a PDW is my handgun times 2, only it's flatter and way easier to shoot. And this is where the MP5 comes back, at least to me, right? Because it might not be might not be a super effective option. Yeah, it might not be a super effective option, and you might get really annoyed by how much that friggin' wire stock wiggles. But you collapse that thing all the way, and then you deploy it, and now I have the softest shooting subgun at 800 rounds per minute, literally ever. And like if you consider yourself like a gun guy, at least to me, and if you have trouble keeping an auto or almost auto MP5 on target at like 25 or even 30 or 40, you should probably hang this up, right? So like the PDW for military purposes turns itself into like a home defense rifle to me. And a PDW, at least from what I can see and how things are proliferating, is we're going to have to like resurrect the subgun and collapse that and put that in cars now, right? And that is in no way a coincidence to the fact that there's a friggin' MP5 clone sitting right here too, right?
So,
So-
like I was talking with you. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that was at the end of the thought anyhow.
I'm sorry. So, like I was talking with you, I think the FRT one becoming so prevalent now has made sub guns make more sense. And I know Chris. I even have a hate boner for bullpups, but I was telling him like the PS90 now makes more sense to me because there's an FRT for that. And as much as I think 5.7 is a gimmick round,
50 of them
having
is really hard to stop, right?
yeah, 50 on tap makes life hard for really anybody. And being what's the ciclet rate for a PS90? Like
a legit one
900.
is like 900 plus.
Yeah, it's up there.
So you're looking at 15 rounds a second.
Yep.
There's a 4-second magazine.
Yep.
Just throwing that out there. Of 4 seconds of fuck you. Coming out. And like I said, they're small, they're easily deployed. As much as I think bullpups are stupid, this is like the one kind of time it kind of almost makes sense as long as you don't have a 16-inch barrel or a suppressor on the end of it.
Well,
Does it
especially-
even qualify as a bullpup just because of the weird action? I mean, you got the magazine going on top, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is technically a bullpup because the fire control's in front of the ejection
Okay.
port.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and like where it feeds is like way back here, right? Like the magazine
Yeah.
sits over yonder. But and that's the thing too, is that like now a P90 actually makes way more sense because the FRT available for it is a snicking position rather than it being the AUG thing, where it's like half press
Yeah.
for semi-auto, full press for full auto, right?
Yeah.
So it makes even more sense now, right? And as much as I like to hate on bullpups, also, if we were to shoehorn a 5.56 one into this role as well, right? Like
Yeah.
let's say that you were to take like a 16 or a 14.5-inch barreled one and shove that in your vehicle. This makes a lot of sense as well. It's really niche and it doesn't do much else well, but now this actually makes some sense. The problem
There's also that. I'm sorry.
uh,
I was gonna say there's also that 11.5-inch one from I think it's called the Wolverine or whatever it's fucking called. That's like maybe 15 inches long.
well, and the problem is that like we're talking about all of these good applications for a PDW and that sort of stuff, and the stream is about 300 black, right?
Mhm.
My issue with 300 black in the civilian context, honestly, is I don't care who says what. If you have decided to spend money on a round that recoils way worse than anything you've got in the house, this requires you to like train on it. This isn't just a weapons manipulation thing, because when you fire a bullet, your name's attached to it. So to try and train for these sorts of things on a gun that does not like to be shot a ton, it just doesn't. That recoils way harder. So now everything that we talked about, we're trying to deliver a lot of bullets at once on something. That starts becoming an issue. And in its most pleasant format, suppressed and subsonic, it offers no actual advantage over a subgun at this point.
No, I'm with you. I also want to kind of get into the fact that if you have 300 Blackout, you probably have a 5.56 gun. And you know what I've seen more times than not on the internet? A blown up 5.56 gun, because somehow, some way, no matter how careful you are, one 300 Blackout manages to get in the mag somehow. All right, I've
That'll
never
never
had.
happen. That doesn't.
Yeah,
happen.
yeah,
No,
totally right.
I have never one time been tired in my life, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody makes mistakes.
Man, just caffeine and hate.
Yeah.
And that's I think my biggest issue is you have this round that at the bottom end for trash tier training ammunition that may or may not work in your rig. You're still looking at 60 cents a round.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
No, and I mean, here's the problem, right? Because I've spent way too many dollars on way too many rounds of 300 black, right? You can build a 300 blackout gun that will run reliably for a while. And you're either going to tune it to run supers, or you're going to tune it to run subs. And yeah, your gun that's tuned for subs will run supers. It'll just beat the hell out of itself, right? You're not going to have a good time. And when it's running subs, you've got 500-600 rounds maybe before it turns into a complete pile of trash and you end up having to throw it away and go to your sidearm.
Explain
I
how you've
definitely
developed that opinion, Nick.
I don't know. I was at a vehicle class and it was really cool because look, I'll name names. I bought into the Q hype, right? I got a sugar weasel because I'm poor, and I threw a trash panda on it, like the ones that we all love, and it's a super quiet gun, right? 220 grain subs. Ran great, took it at a vehicle class, easy to maneuver in and out of the vehicle, super lightweight, very cool because my shoulders were real weak at that point. And by the end of day 2, the inside of the gun, thanks to some beautiful Kentucky weather and rain, had turned into cement. And literally, I remember Chris tried to mortar it open, which smashed the brace, but did not actually manage to get the action undone. And we threw it away.
That's
First
optimal.
first drill of the class, in fact, the gun stopped working, and I literally threw it away and went to my sidearm. So, it's does it run? Yeah. Do I at this point trust it as a home defense gun? Yeah. But there's an FRT in my MP5 now, so I don't know how much longer it's going to sit in the safe.
Yeah, it's
So-
it's
Sorry.
interesting too, right? Because this
Oh,
this
yeah,
this is
hi.
a fun comment.
That's
He
amazing.
He cleaned the rifle between days.
Yep.
It was him trying to use it in a class that shot less than it's like my vehicle class is like 1,000-round class.
Yep. Between
Right,
pistol
so
and rifle.
Yeah, we are not shooting a lot, relatively speaking.
Yeah,
And
and to be clear, I'm super OCD in terms of cleaning guns. I'm less OCD now, but that gun was clean at the start of class, and 300 rounds later, it wasn't working, right? And that's just completely unacceptable.
what did the gun in was the fact that we had like sideways wind rain,
Yep.
right? Because the range that this was on, the wind was not going to stop. So just the world getting into this gun while he's trying to use it, and in very, very short order, the gun stopped. Now, I'm not saying that a self-defense situation, right, is going to run that sort of thing, right? But the combination of the fact that you had ass weather and a gun that is inherently really dirty to shoot creates these issues really fast. And a lot of people don't talk about this because they'll get the caliber, say that you don't have to train really hard with it, and then they don't run into these issues until they actually try to push the guns. For instance, every match ever that I've seen 300 come out on, much like in USPSA matches where dudes come out with pistol caliber carbines, they die. Routinely, in fact. Where if you have four dudes that show up with 300, less than half of them will finish. Meaning a guy will get to the end and he's limping along a bit.
So the 2 or 3 that I've seen at the 2 gun competitions I've been to, 2 barely made it to the end, and that was the standard like 200 round day for your rifles, and then they would not stop choking when we got to the long range portion of it where we're shooting at the 500 yards because nobody knows they're dope at because it's too damn expensive to train with, honestly, or to go practice shooting at ranges like that. So nobody ever does until you do, and then you figure out the round sucks.
Well, and it's not even that, right? It's not even so much that the round sucks. It's more there's this belief that it's the same manual of arms. You just have to put up with some charted nonsense. You don't have to train with it. And I can tell you right now, the chart might say it's going to fall X number of inches at Y distance. And that's
shit. The absolute
Yeah.
horseshit.
Nope.
That's cool, dude. But what happens if you have that knife rain because it's almost winter? What happens if the cold weather in and of itself is making the entire system cycle sluggishly. Your bullets fly different, and you don't know this stuff without actually running out and training it, and you can't friggin' afford to do it, which is an issue. So it falls very hard on its face in the PDW aspect, because that is, at least in my mind, when it's the most vulnerable and it's the least what word should I use? Like, if you're trying to train with it, it permits you to do that the least, right?
Yeah.
And that would be
for sure.
if you're shooting subs with it, right? Because now it's what, 60, 70 cents a round for subs.
Much more than that for subs.
Yeah.
Subs, you're looking at minimum 80, 90 cents.
Yeah. 80, 90.
Oh, fantastic. So, okay, 308.
Yeah, kind of.
I would, yeah, not good. Okay, 308 for like target or practice or whatever. And that, I'm good, dude. I really would so much rather put the time and energy into 9mm and put it into a subgun personally.
But here's the question too.
What you're talking about with all this reliability stuff, that's why when people say that, well, 300 Blackout is basically 7.62 by 39, it's like, no, because I can run my AKM like 2,000 rounds without cleaning, and it's going to work just fine. Whereas you take a 300 Blackout upper, it's going to go a couple hundred rounds, and it's going to start to be dog shit just because of the way it works. It's not. I don't care what ballistic chart you throw in my face. It's not the same because the reliability is just not there. The dependability is not there. It's just not there.
And honestly, there are reasons for that, right? There are like external piston 300 guns that are out there, and they do a little bit better, right? Especially in the suppression category, because it does keep like half of the overpressure out of the gun, right? You still get it through the barrel, and we get that, right? But there's other elements to this as well. This is a straight wall cartridge in 30 caliber that you intend on running suppressed a lot, and the majority of the guns are internal piston. You're asking for problems. And by the way, this big honking ass case that you're trying to extract is being put under a lot of pressure, and you're making a system work really hard because you're using, yeah, I get it, it's supposed to chamber it just fine, but you're using an undersized bolt for it too, because using a 5.56 bolt to cycle that crap out, right? Yeah, okay, upgrade your extractor. That doesn't solve all the problems, right?
I like to point out too, like the vast difference between like each ammunition brand, because SIG's 110 grain 300 Blackout is not the same as Fiocchi's 110 grain 300 Blackout, but the stuff you train with is always the 147 or 150 grain 300 Blackout that nobody else uses, because that was a 308 bullet they stuck on top of the 300 Blackout because it's the cheapest one to get.
And how do you know this, dog? Well, it's because even in 5.56, there are a million people that put up XM193 on their packaging. None of those are the same.
Nope.
Yeah.
Zero of those are the same, right? I have like PPU for some reason when they try to do their 193 setup or whatever in 55 grain, that gets super bullied by wind, right? Like at 200, I've been pushed over a little bit, like enough to notice where you're like, dude, for real, right? Or X-Tac from PMC, pick the grain, right?
Yeah,
that's just super different than a military load, right? So it's interesting to see that, and that round is very well understood, right? And I'm not saying that 300 isn't. We've had a long time to understand this friggin' cartridge by now, but everyone wants to put their seasoning packet on 300. And it's just if you're the kind of person that keeps a binder of dope for different guns, temperatures, barrel lengths, all that stuff, this is a fucking nightmare for anyone trying to actually chart that out, right? And we're just talking about the friggin' PDW stuff right now, because there's other questions in here that make this even worse, right? And the reason why PDW is more or less toward the front end of the conversation is just because this is what people primarily use it for. And it's horrendous at it. Okay?
Yeah, pretty.
Guys don't train with it. They just don't acknowledge it's not a very reliable caliber in the system you're trying to run it. They don't acknowledge that the systems are working so damn hard just to extract a case that all you need is a little bit of environmental change and you've got an issue. And don't tell me that it won't happen either, because it's a PDW. It's not going to be in the wind and the rain and the mud and that sort of stuff. Leave that sucker in your car during winter for a couple of days.
Yep.
And I promise you, it cycles different than in the summer when it's 2 million degrees outside. So, but
yeah, that's another thing too. If your gun barely runs subs because it's programmed for supers, all right, and you're trying to run some subs in it, and it's winter, it's not going to cycle, because what happens to your powder charge when it gets cold out? Its velocities go down. It's almost all. Now there's some manufacturers that it happens less to, but as a rule, when temperatures go down, velocities go down. When temperatures go up, velocities go up.
mm-hmm.
That's one thing I'm not a fan of, is tuning your gas system to where it barely runs whatever round you want. That's just dumb. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
It's
like
every friend is Blackout.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's all based off of a chart nobody understands and doesn't realize is stupid in the first place.
Well, I mean, even if we're talking 5.56, I mean, how much money and time has Colt put into researching what a good gas port is for your barrel length and your gas system? You're like, you know what? Even though they spent millions of dollars and thousands of hours researching this, I'm going to throw it out the window and I'm going to go ahead and gas it down. It's like, no, it's that way for a reason. It's for reliability in all kind of weather conditions.
And my favorite example of all time for this is somebody showed up with a rifle speed gas adjustable gas system to class, right? And it is like, it's something horrendous, like August, right? Where it is 5 billion degrees outside. This guy's shooting suppressed and his gun starts running out of gas, because of course it is, right? Because it's tuned up for this specific thing. It's not in 300, it's in 5.56. And he's like, wait, I'll just adjust my gas system. Okay.
Burns the fuck out of himself.
That worked one time and he almost tattooed himself doing it. And then it carbon locked into place.
Yep.
But I thought it doesn't carbon lock. Like, I'm standing over, I'm like, wow, I really thought that thing didn't carbon lock. I mean, you told me about 46 times 2 hours ago, and we started laughing about it. And he's like, all right, well, I learned a thing. And I was like, yeah, cool. So then
I'm not a big fan of adjustable gas systems at all. Tunable, adjustable.
To me, it broad stroke it, right? Are you going to can it or are you not going to can it?
Yeah.
So I have one use so far for adjustable gas blocks of this outside of a can. I don't know cans because I'm poor, but outside of a can is if you use a lightweight bulk carrier group for whatever reason, and you don't want the gun to beat itself to death.
Sure. Right.
That's the only other reason I can think of.
But now we're talking about using a gas system to adjust timing versus instead of faithfully following a chart that you don't understand. You see what I mean?
Trying to get rid of the massive recoil of 5.56,
Yeah, that's why everybody's got a break instead of. I'm of the personal opinion there's nothing wrong with the bird cage, unless you need something else for something else. I think the bird cage is probably one of the best muzzle devices on the market for $7.
It's fine. I mean, again, unless you're the type that cans a lot, and I'm not even a huge fan of general purpose suppressor. I'm just not. It's got a job. Do that job. If you're trying to melt the rest of your rifle, okay, have it live there, right? But other than that, like, if you have no intention of having it live the suppressed life, there's nothing really wrong at all with a bird cage. So before we get to the next question here, let's catch up a little bit with these super chats, because they're starting to get away from me really fast.
My bad, dog.
No, you're good. You're good. I had a feeling we were gonna have to do this anyhow. I know this guy personally, and I've been told this a lot, right?
Oh yeah.
Um,
Well, the internet said it, so it must be true.
and
I hear
and
it at least. I hear at least one video. Once
Yep.
every video I put out.
Mm-hmm.
Just get 300
So-
blackouts. It's the same as 762 by 39. It's like, no, it is not.
It's not. It's demonstrably worse. So you're actually Lemon. You're actually going to meet this guy when we do
Oh,
the
cool.
yeah when we do the class that we're getting ready to do here. That's a legit thing you might have the opportunity to do.
I'll sign it, but it won't be worth anything. I'm not famous enough.
Join the club.
Autographing is
Bill Cosby.
yeah, right. Just and put the little note like regards, just accept it, right? So there's that. Ammo makers taking 30 caliber bullets designed for 308 and doing the surprise Pikachu face when 150 soft point going 1900 feet per second. Just ice picks. Stupidity. I mean,
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
this is a problem in the AK world because the 762 by 39 bullet is actually .311, and a lot of the American manufacturers of barrels want to use like 308 barrel blanks. So you're shoving a .311 bullet down a 308 barrel blank at what was it, 2,300 feet per second?
Something like
Not
that.
not good, not good.
I can't find a problem, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, what
Silly
could go
fun.
wroong?
Yeah.
So
what could go
Maxim
wrong?
Arms, if don't buy those barrels because that's what they do. At least they used to. I haven't used one in about 7 years.
Lemon, this one's for you too.
Oh boy.
I own a Sam 5 with an Occam handguard. What's slur? Oh man.
Not a fan of the old Sam 5. Sorry.
Oh boy. Oh man. I could think of a few things, but that would get me my whole freaking channel nuked.
Yeah.
Not
good
I like
gun.
you, Avocado. You're a good guy. He just wants me to friggin' buy daggers all the time, and he really wants me to get into bullpups a whole lot too.
He loves bullpups and he loves daggers so much. I've never met another human being that loves daggers as much as he does. I think he has one in literally every color PSA has made, and I think they've made a couple just for him.
This is also the guy that we had to spend 5 hours convincing to not get digital night vision. Right.
That's like another stream.
Uh-huh.
I have
And
digital
a
night
therapy
vision.
session.
It works
Don't
great.
I'm too
It's
poor.
amazing.
I have a flashlight.
So, Joe, I agree with this to a point. I think the pistol chassis does give you a better shooting platform and small enough to stay out of the way for everyday stuff in your laptop bag or whatever. If your work life allows you to shove that in a desk or whatever, and if you carrying that means you have to have like a 26 on your ankle or something like that, I can see how a pistol chassis works in. Generally speaking, though, I think that people are just trying to use a pistol chassis as a crutch for their ass pistol shooting. That's probably not you. Well, you also get what I'm saying too, right? There's levels to all of this, and generally speaking, the pistol chassis ain't it for me.
We all looked at the FAB pistol chassis and like, man, that's hot. Like,
when they were demoing it with a Glock 18.
Yeah,
right?
that's hot. I
Yeah.
mean that.
I'll have to watch later, but if y'all are talking about 300 Blackout, can I ask what y'all think about the 110 grain out of a 16-inch barrel and how well or poorly it performs through windshields?
It's stupid. Don't do it.
AKMs exist. Buy one.
Yeah.
Please, please
You'll get better performance for less money.
And in all honesty, you'll get a better recoiling rifle too.
Yeah.
Like I watch 300s in people's hands when they start shooting 300. Even the larger configurations of it, most of them are shorter. And this is worse. Obviously, it's magnified a lot. But God, that recoil impulse looks like dog water, right? And these are people that actually shoot guns. Like you see it. And it's just like bippity bapping in their freaking shoulder. And it's like, wouldn't this cause a couple of problems if you're, I don't know, trying to hit something at a reasonable distance a lot and fast when you're not trying to hit other things, right? And it's probably gonna sail through windshield glass. You still got to hold low,
Sure.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, there's no reason to put a round designed for a 9-inch barrel into a 16-inch one. Just don't.
Yeah, and if it's
So,
short, it's not gonna recoil good either.
I'm gonna say some states are weird. Virginia's about to be one of those weird states.
Sure, but if you're in a weird state, just skip 300 blackout altogether, which is what everyone should do
You're not
anyway.
wrong. 100%, you're not wrong. I'm just
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah,
as a local Virginian, unfortunately, my state's decided to go off the deep end.
R.I.P.
that's fair enough, dude. You see what I mean? So you see what I'm talking about, right? Like the guys that actually, at least in my mind, that actually need a pistol chassis to fulfill a role that their mouse pistol can't is small, right?
Mhm.
Because you still have to get that thing to like work and in your desk and all of that stuff, right? It's in your laptop
Mhm.
bag. So that means it's coming to work with you, which means you got a lunch. That thing needs to be safe and out of the
What's
hands
that?
of your supervisor, Greg, that's going to fire you over knocking your laptop bag over, and notice that there was a conspicuous sounding thud when it hit that sounded suspiciously more than a
If it's
laptop.
a
And he hates
if it's
you
a
because
SIG,
you do your
it's a
job
thud and a
good and he
bang.
sucks at his. You know what I mean?
If
So,
it's a
I
SIG,
mean,
it's a thud and a bang.
I'm just saying, man. So it's it is what it is, right? I tell you what. I need to find somebody that's tried this, that has put like a rare breed FRT into an MP10.
Mm.
And if that works, oh my God, that's scary. That is terrifying, right? It's expensive, probably. And I would not put it past humans to be like, oh yeah, here's my bear load with my FRT and I just go hiking with it, and he just friggin' rips off like some black bear really hard one day, but like that's an interesting concept. I have no thoughts because I have shot like maybe 90 rounds through a 10 millimeter PCC. Right. But I will say that a buddy of mine, Josh, he put together a Glock 20 with a KKM on it, and that thing is a monster. Right. So I could only imagine. Yeah, it's like unsheathing a short sword when you draw it.
Yeah.
Right. But like, so I could only imagine if you're just like, chow, and you have that odd looking stick magazine hanging out of that, and you're like, I ain't slow. I got a bolt drop now, right? Like I could imagine if that's got an FRT in it, and if you know what you're doing, that's probably scary good.
I got to shoot the Chris Vector in 10 millimeter in full auto. And that, I won't lie to you, I thought those were the stupidest weapons until I shot a 10 millimeter in full auto. That was pretty dope at that point. I was like, this is fun.
Look, I shot a sample of one in 45, and this thing like rips off at 1,100 rounds, and just and the freaking magazine was gone. I was like, oh, I get why this thing exists now. I hope it works. It didn't, but it, like,
At the gun shop I used to work at, we got a sample to put out on rentals, and that was like one of our number one rentals for a hot minute.
Good God, that's horrifying. And somebody made a Vector in 10 work with an FRT.
Oh yeah.
Yikes.
That'd be expensive.
Okay, so before we move on, the PDW thing, right? So this is a concern that everybody's got, right? So the P90 makes a little bit more sense in this particular case. But even still, especially, let's not even talk about armor. Let's talk about like drugs and stuff too, because if I need this thing to get busted out, I am in a situation where I need to be super violent, right? Your target zone needs to change. It needs to go from plant him like a daisy to disable his ability to walk. And that sort of negates the fact that he's got a vest on of some kind anyway, right? So, because it's really, really hard to ignore 1,247s to the hips, right? Because even if you're on drugs, you notice an angry bee swarm in your penis region.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah, as I told you, like as one person that's been vibe checked by a single 147 grain bullets and some soft armor, that shit fucking sucked. All right, I can only imagine getting vibe checked a bunch of times in some soft armor.
God, I
All right, everybody.
I could only imagine catching like 6 of them shits in the chest. Just, I'm good, dude.
Mm,
I'm way good. But let's go ahead and move on a little bit because we're a whole hour in and we're not even halfway down this friggin' list. Okay. So now the other half of this, right? Because we alluded to it a little bit as far as what a requirement would be on the military side of the house. And I've seen people make the argument for 300 that it is a true fighting rifle because of its multi-role capability.
No.
Right. What in the hell actually is a fighting rifle to all of you? I have a very short answer for that, but we can get to it, right? So please, somebody take the reins.
your turn, Lemon.
Simple. I use the term RAD: reliable, accurate, durable. Is it reliable? Is it going to go bang every time? Is it accurate? Is it going to hit what I need it to hit? Is it durable? Can I beat the living shit out of it and it still shoots every time? That's a fighting rifle to me. So if it's not reliable after like 200, 300 rounds because it's, all gunked up, then it's not a fighting rifle. And that's unfortunately most of your 300 Blackout uppers and, guns and shit like that. Caliber aside, I mean, it doesn't have the reliability to do what you want it to do.
Right.
Mm.
Yep.
Nick?
What he said. I can add nothing substantive to that.
Yeah, Lemon had a little more concise thing than I did. So I have a fighting rifle video on my channel that literally goes through what I think a fighting rifle is. So I'm just gonna kind of reiterate that. First things first, it takes AR mags. I know I know Lemon, you're gonna maybe crucify me on that, but like in America, it's gonna take AR mags, just straight up,
Yeah.
standard AR mags.
I mean, if you're in America, AR and 5.56 makes sense logistically. If you're not running
Yeah.
an AR 5.56, you're just,
Here's the thing.
America,
I don't care.
not good.
Just like how if you live in Alaska, which that's just another planet, right?
Yeah.
And your main is a friggin' FAL. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of large
Yeah.
friggin' animals out here that are really interested in eating you.
Yeah. So I get that, but my big thing, it has to take standard AR mags. I don't even care if it's an AR. It just has to take AR mags, no question. It can't be finicky about what kind of mags it takes. Whatever mags on the market, it should be able to feed from that, no problem. Second thing, you need to own 0 to 300 meters. All right, you must be able to hit a C zone target within the first second shot of being taken at it. And should be able to do that. Something 300 Blackout's not super great at because it drops like an absolute stone if you don't know your dope after 200 meters, and then you have to be effective out to 500 yards. So you have to be able to hit a USPSA target first second shot out to 500 meters. Should be lightweight, so anything under 8 pounds is okay. Anything over 8 pounds is a base rifle. Base rifle, nothing on it, no magazines in it, no sling, no gizmos, nothing like that. Your base rifle coming out of the box should be under 8 pounds. It's going to be somewhat lightweight. You got to be able to carry this thing. I think you should have magnification on it, 3 to 6 power, an immediate 1x. It has to be reliable, like you said. Should be able to go through a full combat load and then some without any issue. Accurate, it must be 3 MOA or better for 5-shot groups at 100 yards. You must be able to fight at night, so you better be a flashlight on it, whatever night vision, whatever you want on it. You should just be able to fight at night, and get the 2-sighting system on it at any time. That's a fighting rifle to me.
Yeah. Mine is short and concise, and that is mission set doesn't matter when it goes minimum 35,000 rounds and still hits what it's shooting at. Everything required that needs to be there is there. If it is not, like Lemon said, reliable and durable, it's never making it to that round count unless you just love being upset at yourself, which, considering my life, that makes sense. But
Pro-Mags would help.
I bet. But that said, right, like mission set doesn't really matter if it can go minimum 35,000 rounds, right, and still hit what it's shooting at when it's done, right. I rotate between main squeezes a bunch, but right now my main squeeze is a short and a long 416 type setup, right. The short 416D is a Brownell setup, and that's fine. The thing took an explosion to its guts, and it's still running right now, right. Nick, you were there for that.
I was there. It was pretty fucking wild.
Yep. And then of course I picked up an MR556A4 upper and put it on a lower because you save minimum $1,000 if you don't pick up their lower. But that thing does not give a shit about what I do to it, and I have barrels forever, right? So that's it. Reason that this is brought up is, have either of you, any of you, ever heard of never mind the extreme examples, like there's multiple examples of 5.56 Super Duties going 100,000 rounds on the original parts, and they still work fine, right? They don't look good, but they still cycle and do the job, even if they shout at you for making them do more. Have any of you heard of a 300 Blackout ever? Like a single rifle, regardless to what its job is, going 30,000 rounds?
I don't know any of them that's gone 5,000 without having to have something rebuilt, replaced, or sent back to the manufacturer or something.
I don't think anybody, I mean, we'd have to look, but I don't think I've ever seen a review of any 300 Black rifle or pistol or what have you with more than 1,000 rounds on it.
Oh, well, in a lot of ways, it's like MP5s. No one's gone over 3,000 rounds, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I think I'm going to start going through all the clones. This was at first about a PTR, and then I started really looking, and I'm like, you know what? Nobody actually does any of that. So let's I actually know the maintenance requirements and the parts replacement due times for like an MP5 and that sort of stuff. We've been talking about sub guns a lot, and I hear a lot of grumblings, like positive, negative, about like Sentry or PTR or pick the name, right? And it's like, you know what? There's gonna be a bunch of MP5s in the house now, because nobody actually shoots these guns and nobody knows how to run them either. But I digress. Never once in my life have I had a guy walk up to me and be like, yeah, dude, tell me about your gun. He's like, all right, so over the last 30,000 rounds, this is what I learned about this. Right. Even if he's like, yeah, I had to change the barrel one time because its ammunition kind of beats the brakes off of my, probably throat erosion is really shitty in those guns. Right. But over the last 30,000 rounds, I've learned X about 300. I've never heard this.
Like I've never heard of somebody going 5,000. I've never heard somebody tell me, hey, I've shot 5,000 rounds to this rifle. I've heard like 800. I've heard, oh, this is like my third competition with it or something like that. Or I've heard the horror stories like, oh, I had to send it back to SIG or whoever because this wasn't tuned right for some reason.
Well, I mean, most gun people don't shoot. I mean,
there's that.
Yeah, there's most people buy this stuff because it's cool and it looks neat on Instagram, but the amount of people that actually take their guns out of shoots anymore is like few and far between.
Well, but it's interesting though, right? Because we know this for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But even the guys that shoot a lot don't shoot these guns.
No, absolutely not, because they're dumb.
It's impossible, and they'll melt the rifle. So how the hell is this a viable option in a civilian sense? Because you have to train with your guns. I don't care what you own. But nobody shoots them. So how is it that me, or 2 out of the 3 of you sitting here on this panel have been getting shouted at about 300 Black and how awesome it is for always. But
Yeah.
none of these fuckers actually shoot their guns. You know,
like I said, I've never seen one at a class. All right, I understand it. Nick, you might be the exception. Never seen you I've never seen a 300 Blackout at a class. I've seen like 2 or 3 out of the bunch of fucking competitions I've been to. But other than that, I just see people like, oh, this is my truck gun, or hey, this is my home defense, or something like that, and it's pristine because nobody uses it.
I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm not at all. I would love to see this gun.
That's like what?
Especially
$7,000 worth of ammo.
Yeah, especially out of a Rattler. Like, if that's the case, right? Like, this is a really exact round count. I would love to see images on this thing, and I would love to see what that caliber. I'm assuming you shoot supers mostly out of it, right? Because trying to afford that much, if it's mostly subs, God, you have to have a helicopter, right? Which, if you have a helicopter, we need to talk. But
agree.
I would love to see what mostly supers at that round count actually does to that rifle, right?
And what have you had to change or replace? You know,
that too, right? Like, what's your maintenance cycle, right? Because not having major problems is in fact different from just a regular maintenance cycle, right? Like, I've rebuilt a whole bunch of stuff in a whole bunch of my guns, and I haven't had any problems. I just wasn't an idiot, and I changed stuff before it broke. I would love to see like the major. Oh yeah, okay, mostly supers, but I load. Okay, this makes more sense. He's loading his stuff. Because here we are.
Yep.
So the idea that we're driving at is that it's mostly completely useless for the civilian because it doesn't do anything particularly well. Military knows this, but it does a couple of jobs okay for short term, and that's its job. In other words, I need an MP5 SD, but then I can also fight at beyond SD ranges, and that works in a military context. But for civilians, this for you, the individual, this mostly super sucks, right?
Yeah, it's like this comment. I think I sent it to you that I got on my YouTube was 300 Blackout is probably the most practical caliber for a U.S. citizen. And he's using the example of who needs to really reach out beyond like 150 yards. Like,
oh, that's a claim.
Yeah,
well, I think he said something to the effect of, right, like, so it suffers past a few football fields. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well,
you should, dude.
You should, yeah. You're limiting your capability just so that you can throw kitchen sinks around at 50 yards, you know.
Like, you recognize that America occupies a lot of space, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's the United States, in that each what would be a province in any other country is the size of a friggin' country a lot of the time.
Well, it's like I live in the mountains, and even in the mountains, in the wooded areas, you still got areas that's visibility is 400, 500 yards, even in a mountainous area. So why would you want to limit yourself to like 200 yards? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Out here, just where I live, right? Like, my wife likes to bust out a laser rangefinder and use me as like a party tool, where she's like, "Hey, how far is that?" And I'll like range estimate it, and I'm usually pretty close to like between like 20 and 40 yards of what that actual distance is, and we're talking like 4, 5, 6, 1,000. Like, you could just see stuff, right?
I'd also like to point out I live in Richmond. Okay, that's a city. It's a real city. It's not a hodunk city. It's a real city. Parking lots here go out to 200, 300 yards.
Yeah.
You have streets that you can see clear down 1,000 yards down, and so more to the point, not just civilian, all right, but life and liberty. If bullshit happens, all right, and we have like an oh fuck they have paragliders moment, all right, that moment you go, I only need it for 100 yards. Kind of goes out the window. I hate that fucking gun grabber talk where who really needs anything to go past X. All right, I understand that we have to.
It's some real Bill Ruger shit, dude.
Yeah,
You know,
like there's. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. As a sub note to our guy that actually the one motherfucker on earth that shoots is 300. Actually, yeah, it makes sense. That's why I have marked out the 27 Beretta magazines right now. You know what I mean? Like if I have a billion rounds to shoot through something, I know I have X to go through.
$1 billion.
I have a Pelican case.
It feels like, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, I have a Pelican case I use to count my rounds. Because I'll buy like 4 or 5 cases and then pour them all into one Pelican case, and when that's empty, I went through 5,000 rounds.
And even if like Richmond being one example of it too. I used to live in Tampa for a while, and you could see far. Like it's grid-like, and there's numbers everywhere, and that if you're lost, just start looking at the numbers until you get where you need to be. That kind of stuff.
I lived in St. Pete for a while.
There you go.
And St. Pete was fun because, like, instead of increasing police presence, they reduced the streets. So they started putting up guardrails in streets, so that you can't drive a car through there. I was like, this is brilliant, St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
You're geniuses.
It's hilarious too, because even if you, the individual, as you are watching this from your phone or whatever, if you were to step outside, look at the next nearest stop sign and be like, how far away is that? Most of the time, it's like a football field away.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you live like right on top of a stop sign, in which that sucks. I hope you don't have kids. But like, you see what I'm saying, right? I mean, but still, right? Like most of the time, it's like, how far is that stop sign away over there? And it's usually like a damn football field, right? Like you need to know where your bullets are going, right? It's not all close range dope, although you need that too. Which is also why you shouldn't have a giant fucking riser on your rifle, but that's a whole other discussion. Nope, we're not going there.
Yeah, no, that's a whole thing.
Yeah. But yeah, dude. And yeah, you're a reloader. I wouldn't be surprised if you counted by batches, where it's like X number of hundreds going in the rifle bag. All these magazines are loaded. I know what the capacity is, blah, blah, blah. Because I get that for sure, right? Because I'll put a case, right? Like 1,000 rounds worth of loaded rifle magazines in the rifle bag, and it's just a rifle bag, and you can tell it's got friggin' miles on it. But that's how you keep like a count really easy, right? And now it's just number of receipts based off of this thing at this point, right? So it's not that hard. But I understand why your round count's super tight there. But I mean, the point of all this too, again, is that like, how could this be? Based off the comment that Lemon got, how is it the ideal civilian's rifle when a guy with 8,000 plus rounds on his gun is an event?
Yeah.
Like, the whole panel's like, holy shit, what does it look like? Let me see your bolt. I want to see what your upper looks like, Doug. Like, it would be the same kind of event to where it's like, hey, this MP5 or I'm just on the MP5 sauce right now, has 300,000 rounds on it. You're like, Jesus, really?
I'd be measuring receivers then.
Yeah. It's like, how are the welds doing, man?
That's what's funny in the AK world now is like, if you got a AK that's gone more than 5,000 rounds, it's like, holy shit. It's like, man, that thing should be able to go like 50,000 rounds before you change the barrel.
Yeah. Well, and if you're shooting super high volume, right? Like I had a Norenko Mac 90, a milled one, right? And I used to shoot it a lot. And like I would average, because there was no we then. It was just me shooting shit on my cell phone. Shit, I still shoot footage on my cell phone. But like I'd get like 35 out of one. And because it's a milled gun, I quit trying to use it after its third barrel change, because it doesn't have a trunnion. Don't do that shit anymore,
It's stretched out like a porn star. It's No good anymore.
The Smith,
No
the
good.
Smith, the Smith that put it together, like he leaned all the way over the counter and he's like, "Stop it." That went together entirely too easy. I'm telling you, this is a bad idea to push it like this some more. You need to go get a stamped gun or something. And then I did. But still, it's like, oh, okay. you know. But that used to be the norm. And now we have all these friggin' American-made AKs running around.
It's not even just the Americans, like the WBP ones, even from Poland, the commercial Polish ones, the Pioneer
true.
Arms and WBP.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not good guns. It's just the way the market is. That's like a 2-hour conversation. I don't want to sidetrack us, but it's not great.
Yeah,
but PSA is making 300 black AKs now. Aren't you excited?
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Are they really?
Yeah,
that
Oh,
seems like the most.
Really? Is that a real thing?
They're
making
shit show.
size 300 black AKs now.
No,
My brother in Christ, that sounds like such a sacrilege thing.
It sounds like everything bad all at once, dude.
I can't believe that's a real thing.
I sent Chris the picture, but whenever people tell me that 7.62 by 39 is basically 300 black, I show them the side by side of a crank gas system for like 7.62 by 39 versus the PSA 300 black. Because what they do, because it's such a low pressure round, they put an AR gas block like 4 inches from the trunnion, and then they run an AR tube to their gas block to cycle the piston. It's like, if they were the same, you wouldn't need to do this goofy shit. You would just have to run just a normal gas, AK gas system to cycle that piston. But no, it's a shit show. Like, it's not the same.
That's going to keep me up tonight. I hope you know that.
Look,
that's
PSA. Please stop asking for quality.
Yeah, I mean they have literally made a 300 blackout crank, and it's awful. Good Lord, why?
It's
like really... all right. As the panel's poor fag, I'll openly admit that a lot of my rifles started out as PSA rifles, and then as I just upgraded them as I went, because I just don't make a lot of money, and I would just upgrade a barrel here. I would upgrade the bulk carrier group here.
Well, again, their ARs are sort of like Harbor Freight. You're getting into the trades. You don't have enough money to buy like a bunch of Black Hawk and Snap-on, so you start off with Harbor Freight.
Yep.
And as shit breaks, you upgrade it. So I get that aspect of it. With their AR side of it, they're cheap. They work well enough for most of their clientele. But when you get into the AK side, it's like a whole nother ball of wax. It's the amount of money you're going to pay for a PSA AK. Just get a Wasser 10.
My big issue is I remember Wasser 10s because that was my first serious rifle I ever bought was a Wasser 10, and it was $250.
Yeah, I used to pick them up 300 all day, every day.
Yep, my Dracos plural were just a tick over 600 a piece. Base guns. See, for me, by the time I was done adding stuff to them, we're talking about like AR cost, but we get it.
Yeah, so for me, it's easier for me to buy something that's a little less expensive and then upgrade it over time.
Yeah.
Especially now that I'm having a kid and all that fun jazz. So, like, all my free money just went out the window.
Only for the next 18 years. It's fine.
Friends don't let friends seriously buy tools at Harbor Freight. You buy tools at Harbor Freight because you're poor and you haven't scratched together enough money to buy Snap-on yet.
Or you're going to do a single job. Like I had to, I've got like water heat, like a boiler system. And I replaced a piece of black pipe. So I bought a pipe threader from them, like $300. I'll probably use it twice in my life. Yep. It's fine. But if I'm going to be like a professional pipe threader, I'm not going to use the $300 Harbor Freight special. This is the way it is.
It's like when I was working on cars, man. Like, dude's like, go to Harbor Freight, get an impact set. This impact set really sucks, but it'll last long enough for you to get an impact set. That's from Snap-on.
It'll allow you to work and build money up and get some serious tools.
Yep.
Without going into debt.
Man, so I like this because here are the following questions. They all, based on what we've already talked about, they sort of all roll together, right? And that is, Does 300 Black do either of these well? And that's PDW or fighting rifle, right?
No.
Is it actually per performance cost effective to run?
Not even a little
Would
bit.
simply specializing more than one guns be a superior alternative given the cost? And is 7.62 by 39 really the answer? So there's a lot to unpack there, right? Because I mean, Lemon's already starting. He's like, no, fuck that. Probably, right? um, in all honesty, I believe that really is it, though, right? Because I don't think I've run into a guy yet, really, except for our one that's apparently actually shot the damn thing once. In like the only person on the planet. What you call it? That owns this caliber and didn't try to tell me how awesome it was right before the gun died.
Yeah.
Right. And shortly following how awesome this gun is talk about their reloading setup too. Right. And it's a whole lot of that just to be like, cool, show me. And then the gun abruptly dies. Right.
It's like every like Taurus out there. Oh, this works great.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. And as it's actively dying, and I don't know anybody on this panel at all that could fit this bill or this description, but even as it's actively dying, these guys make excuses for it. Right.
Yeah. That's not a jam. It just didn't feed.
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's simple. This will work itself out. No problem. It's been great the whole time up to this point. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Got to be an
"All right."
ammo problem, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
bad
it's
case of
raining
ammo.
You know it's raining harder, right? Like since you've said that, like the raindrops are getting fatter, right? Like the bill of my hat looks like it's leaking gasoline. What are we doing here, right?
Going to my sidearm is what we were doing there.
He shot a lot of pistol at that class, man.
I sure did. Sure did.
What was interesting is I did that Ridge Racer with D34 last year, and it was like monsoon conditions. And you can tell the guys that had like cheap shit real quick. Like one guy that was on my squad, he had like a Vortex, like LPVO, and it turned out it was not waterproof, you know. It was fogged up, it was useless. He's like, well, there goes that.
Yeah, man.
I so badly want to do that comp. But it's in Ohio.
It was a fun time.
Yeah, it was a great time. What you call it? I
both of
was
you.
in the bug working out phase. I got pulled into the cadre shoot. It's what I could make. But he's getting ready to make fun of me a whole bunch in the video that he's putting together. We actually talked a while about some stuff that he's doing fairly recently, actually, and that was a really good match.
I think his next one's in June, if not mistaken.
Yeah, I can't wait to paddle.
When my kid's being born. Great.
I'm hearing excuses, not solutions. That's what I'm hearing.
I'm hearing all this shit about stuff you can't do. But yeah, dude, like I can't wait to paddle boat and body armor and that sort of stuff too, because the amount of reading I had to do in that match was awesome. Right? Because I'm trying to move at like 5,000 miles an hour and I take off. It's like, oh shit, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You know,
I can feel my dyslexia firing off now.
Right. And
it's for me, it's really simple. Just shoot the targets. Like I don't care what it says, just hit the targets.
So what's really funny about that too, and I don't know if he told you this or whatever, but I took this cadre, or I shot this cadre match with a 10-4, right? It was the friggin' BRN-4, man. I just had the ACOG stack on it, and when they started doing the unknown distance stuff, right, on that target that he had all the way back there's like this tiny little brush that's like next to that tank trap. And just how I was, I couldn't actually, like, I got scared of the brush because I'm using like PMC bronze. I have no gas
deflection
at all. Yeah, this thing is like moonshotting before it goes there. So I actually just switch hands, go to my left hand side, and set up on the tippity top of that tank trap. just to get that shot off. But it was either first round or second round hit at that distance. Actually, it was second round, I remember, because I cussed a whole lot. I botched the shot on the first one. Yeah, and I think he actually has video footage of this too, if I'm not mistaken, where it's just like, bam, fuck, bam.
Yeah, I've seen it. He sent
You
it
know,
to me.
yeah.
He's like,
Oh,
check
there
this
you go,
out. I
yeah.
was like, that's funny.
Yeah.
The only one I like really had trouble with was the spider hole. Like you got to the end, I think it was yellow course. There's like a spider hole like right next to the ceiling,
Yeah.
and like I'm trying to angle myself so I could look through that spider hole, and then me being a middle-aged man, my back went out. It's like we're done with this one. Like
the very first stage that I shot, I completely blew by an array of 2 targets. Just walked like signs here, walked right past it to the next thing. And thank God I was not the only guy to do that. Because like I just met these people and I'm gonna embarrass myself like that, you know.
Well, the like the give me stage is supposed to be the blue where you're just basically shooting bill drills at 25 yards. You know, it's just basically to flush your gear out. So the way the round robin worked, that was my last one. So I just threw my back out on yellow course, and I go to that, and I'm just throwing ammo at the targets because I just want to sit the fuck down because my back hurts so much. I was like, he's like, you would have did really well, but you really blew blue course. I was like, I know. I was in so much pain. I just wanted to get this over with.
I'm just saying, man. That one's for you, Doug.
Oh no! See, my wife has already threatened my life if I'm not there at the hospital. She showed me the knife she'd stab me with, so I believe her.
That's fair.
The hospital can just have 4 wheels, my man.
Okay. My buddy. All right, so my buddy, right? Who's a 300 Blackout guy, one part of our training group. Bought a 300 Blackout, died first magazine. That's the point, right? We're having a ride back, and I find out my wife's pregnant. He looks at me dead in the eyes. He goes, "I know we hang out a lot, but that motherfucker ain't gonna get delivered if I'm in this car." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Don't ask me to do that, man. I did it one time, and I threw up on somebody's vagina." I was like, "Oh, great, man." Don't do that for my wife.
What just happened? Oh my!
Literally cannot be there. It's weird what makes guys squeamish, man. Like
So I'll
I know
tell this
people
story when my son was born because it's hilarious. So my son's born, and they got him on like the table, and the doctor's going over everything. You know, he's this much weight, all this stuff, and the doctor just goes, "He's got a little jaundice, so he's a little yellow." And I said, "Well, so was Bruce Lee. Turned out okay." And she stops and looks at me like, "Are you fucking serious right now?" Turns out she was like this hippie Doctors Without Borders type chick, and she's like, this was like the worst thing she's ever heard in her life. And I was just like, well, my humor did not go over well today.
Not so much.
4 years in the military and 13 years as a correctional officer in corrections. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Sometimes my humor misses the mark. I'm like, oh, my bad, shit.
Oh my goodness, this was the wrong time and place for my humor.
Okay, so obvious trolling is obvious trolling, man. You gotta step your game up. Step your game up.
Yeah, I agree.
Harbor Freight icon tools are incredible. Their icon line is absolutely top tier.
He's giving you $10 to do a Harbor Freight commercial.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Just go buy another dagger, man.
Yeah, this
another dagger.
This stream.
I take a Harbor Freight to the PSA Sabers.
Yeah, somehow. Like, look, I know at some point I'm gonna review both types of saber. By then there'll be a third, and it'll be like, do the M110, because people like watching me throw shit. But
true story.
I mean, I get the appeal because somebody at some point wants to watch me hatchet an M110 across a friggin' berm, right? In which case, I'm just gonna make sure I have super hardy optics, like on board, so that when the thing goes flinging through the air, you know. What's this?
Probably something with.
I've already kind of posted this, but I figured I'd get your takes. So this is for us. What do you think 6.8 SPR would possibly fit? Where, I'm assuming, or do you think 6.8 SPR would possibly fit in the conversation?
Like a 6.8 special purpose rifle or a 6.8 SP, was it the special purpose
SBC.
cards? Yeah.
Yes,
SBC.
the cartridge.
Yeah, so I don't know
Um,
which one they're talking about. Are they talking about like
Yeah, I
inventing
don't.
a 6.8 like DMR or just
Yeah.
the cartridge in general?
Yeah, because one is a flatter shooting M110 almost, and the other is a light 2000s cartridge. I would love some clarification.
It
Yeah.
says
The
SPC.
SBC. Okay.
I was a big fan of SPC just because I hated 5.56. I used it in Iraq, hated it. It didn't stop dudes from trying to kill me. So the 6.8 was cool just because it was a little bit harder hitting and it still fit in the M4 package. But at the same time, it got really, really hot. Like if you if you shot like 2 magazines in that thing, you felt like you were going to melt your barrel. That was my only complaint with 6.8 SBC. And I got into it in, I think, 2010. And the only ammo you could get at the time was from a company called like Silver Lake or Silver City. And it was like a buck
I know what you're
10.
talking about.
Yeah, it was like a buck 10 per round. And it was like soft point, which I wasn't a fan of.
Refresh my memory on this too. Weren't they like 28 or 27 shot magazines or some shit like that too?
Yeah,
And
I
you
want to say
needed
it
a
was
magazine
like
for it?
25, 26, depending on who you bought it from. Like I had
Yeah.
PRI mags. They were supposedly the best, and they were 25.
Silver State Armory. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Silver State.
Yep.
So I thought they were kind of cool because my buddy had one of what was that stupid fucking rifle? Hop literally just did a video on it today. That Ruger SR 556 or whatever it was, but their 6.8 version of it. He bought that. He was doing contract work for something, and they wanted to try it out for gate guards because this is like when 6.5 Grendel, not 6.5 Grendel, 50 Beowulf came out. They're like, oh, we need something to stop vehicles better.
Yeah.
And they thought that 6.8 might be that. I thought it was kind of cool because it was different, it was neat, and it seemed to work well.
But the thing is that like when you have like these harder hitting packages and stuff like that, there's no free lunch, right? And in this particular case, 6.8 special purpose ate the guns.
Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah, they ate the guns in the same way that like a lot of Wonder 9 type 40 caliber pistols were like, where it's just like, we're just gonna take a 9mm gun and stick a 40 caliber barrel and recoil spring in it, and then people are wondering why everything on the inside of this handgun's getting molested.
Yep.
Right.
I had a USP 40. That thing was amazing just because it was actually designed for the cartridge. Right. All the other 40s I've owned in the 357 SIGs have just been dog shit.
Yeah.
Yes,
I forgot that was a caliber.
SIG guy.
I forgot that was even a caliber.
I got one right over there.
God bless you.
I love it.
And the issue that you run into, just like with this 300 black stuff, is that like, yes, you have this capability and that sort of stuff, but it's a gun you can't shoot a lot. Right. 5.56 is not awesome at stopping cars, but it's really good at stopping people with modern bullets out, especially now.
I don't know, man. I dealt with some 120-pound Iraqi males topped up on coke and meth, and
modern bullets now
didn't do great.
I mean, well, also, right? They're trying to, for the longest time, they're trying to equip Marines and soldiers and that sort of stuff too. Because I've seen this before too, where you took a projectile that was really good at fragmentation and you put a penetrator in it, like an asshole.
Yeah.
Let me rant about this for a second. My training group has decided that M855 is what we're going to standardize on for our group load, and I fucking hate all of them.
So do you guys like to play Ready or Not on hard, right? Like where you just want to be instantly deleted for no reason? Because this sounds like an intentional debuff to the group.
That's what I said. So I'm of the opinion that M855 is trash. That's straight up my opinion on it. When 77 grain OTMs out of a couple different factories now are 50 cents a round. Yep. All right. I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm a believer in leverage to strength, right? 5.56 requires speed and it requires you to either be really light or shear a jacket really fast to be effective, which means it's XM193 or a 77 grain OTM, right? Like if you leverage the strength of that caliber, it's excellent, right? It is what it is. What is this? Hold on. What?
Yeah, I was looking at that too. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
it
talking
caught
about
my eye.
a bunch of dudes running around with grease guns, you know, like it's World War II Normandy.
So,
I'd take a grease gun of our 300 Blackout.
well, first of
Hell
all,
yeah,
first of all, it's
that's my
way,
unicorn.
yeah, it's also impossible to shoot badly. You know what? I will say this. So I was going to talk about this a little bit here too, right? So let's go ahead and talk about this. Is it just a better idea then, now that we've talked about what you call it? And obviously I'm alluding to something specific, is if I'm in a PDW or, you know, carbine or infantry rifle, people are calling them general purpose now, which is it's a damn infantry rifle. That's what it is, right?
Duty rifle, whatever.
Yeah.
Used to call
whatever
it a duty
variation's at now.
or a tactical platform, right? Like whatever, dude. Point is though, is that like, isn't it better to just specialize, right? I either have a gun that I can't shoot that doesn't do anything particularly well, or if I want a PDW, just get a friggin' sub gun. You can do it. It's not that hard. FRTs exist. You know, if you want a 5.56 rifle, just go buy the rifle, right? If you want something that destroys things easier, but you still want a good assaulting caliber, you're going to spend the money, but why not just get an AK, dude? Right? Like Romanian guns still exist. You could trick them out. You'll be fine. You know, buy some decent magazines. You'll be okay. So
Sometimes
in this particular instance, right, where at least to me, if it has to be lower profile, do that job, right? These are guns, not fighter jets. We can specialize and be okay, and probably spend less too, because I can actually train with 9mm and 5.56. And if we're pushing it a little bit, 7.62 by 39, right? But you probably have to have a couple of extra zeros a year than I do to do it a lot, right?
I don't know. I mean, I can still get a Yugo M67 right around 45-50 cents a round, which is not great, but it's not like it used to be. Not like when I was getting Tula at Walmart for 25 cents a round, but it's not outrageous.
I miss those days.
Well, I mean, considering what that stuff used to cost, that is outrageous.
It's outrageous. I mean, it's
no,
like
I get you.
It's like when people are like, well, you used to be able to get candy bars for 5 cents and blowjobs for $1. It's like, yeah, it's not 1970s anymore, man. You got to inflation and whatnot.
I'm just looking at the guy that's yoking up the cost of this ammo, and I would love to just give him the business, because I know we all know what the quality of that ammo actually is.
Yeah,
just like fuck you a little bit, you know. But there again, you know, like if you were to just specialize, you probably spend way less long term, and you're just not frustrated. You know, I mean, like, in all honesty, given everything I just said, right? Especially if you got one of them little tiny folding guys, right? It might feel like some Queer Eye for the Straight Guy type stuff to put a little bit of fancy stuff onto a folding stock for that sort of thing. But like, does it not just do the job good? You know, like you delete the short broom handle on it. You don't need it anyway. It's super short. Just magwell grip it and you're good. Like, why is it a problem? You know, like, actually, why not? You know what I mean? So,
and even if you can't afford that, Scorpion, CZ Scorpion is still a thing. Not the best thing, but still a thing.
They're not bad. They're not bad.
Yeah.
I
mean, they're not great, but
some out of battery detonation issues with
Oh, that's true.
those.
I'm a CZ fag, so like, that's just, well, I'm gonna throw that out there.
I knew you wore a scarf. I knew it.
Mm,
I knew it.
I've had every CZ known to man. So
My grail gun right now is getting a Bren. If I can get a Bren too, I would be so happy. But here's the thing: I don't have $2,000 to spend on one.
Yeah,
do,
I
you
need
just
night
don't
vision
want
before I get
to.
that.
I got it. I gotta admit, cheap
Digital
Scar
night
is
vision.
good. I gotta admit, cheap Scar is good. That's a good rifle. You know,
I need to get night vision before I get that. That's the thing.
I mean,
Why do you need
yeah.
night vision? Just get thermal.
See, I actually like to mix it up a little bit. Me personally, I like to use night vision for navigation, right? Because
Yeah.
I could see if I could see behind a pane of glass. You know, also I've done a lot of walking. I've also done a lot of falling, and for some reason, night vision is less bad for me on that. But like to me at least, you got to consider both if you're actually like start with the one. Like navigation to me comes first, and then thermal all day,
So
every day.
I'd love to do that, 100%. Like I said, poor guy, just trying to climb the ladder where I can.
I get you.
I've got 3 rifles, uh, all do different things. One's a backup for when my main one finally dies, and I can just rebuild that one again. And then I spend most of my money on ammo, and then right now magazines, and I have to buy new barrels now because threaded barrels in Virginia are about to be outlawed.
Oh yeah. I didn't think
yeah,
about that.
yeah. There's that.
I didn't think about that either until yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, I hate everybody."
Yeah. I just want to get to the point where I'm a good little influencer and I have a set of dual tubes. I want a set of RNVGs pretty bad. You know, like a set of friggin' White Foss thin films, right? I don't
want
like articulating stuff. I clack things in the woods and people too, right? So like a set of RNVGs would be pretty great. But you know, that is what it is. Oh, we have one of these. I haven't heard of that, and if you think about it, the math doesn't work.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah, 300 black.
It doesn't go through.
Yeah, 300 black subloads trying to penetrate body armor. Like to me, like just on its face, that math isn't mathing.
There's
Right?
there's already a bunch of videos of it out trying to penetrate level 2 armor, and it doesn't.
Oh,
It does just as good as a 45 ball.
that is a really expensive rifle caliber to not defeat soft armor with.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, level 2 is like the most baseline. I think it was the most. Is it the most common? It might not be the most common anymore. Soft armor. I think 3A is the most common soft armor now. But
Yeah, 3A is.
Yep.
For a while there in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, 2A was the 2 and 2A were like the most common, and it doesn't penetrate that.
Nope.
Yep. So I have a question for the group, and I'm not trying to meme here, I swear. It's probably going to get turned into a meme, but I'm not trying to. So
I like memes.
per the discussion, right? If we have a rifle caliber that recoils really badly, is not very good at being a PDW, especially if you try to suppress it, because it's just not very reliable for very long, especially not cost-wise. Coming back to that in a second. Is ugly to handle in supersonic and is just less reliable overall, like in general, compared to 7.62 by 39. It is just significantly worse ballistic performance and everything. We have a caliber that is not prohibitively, but damn near prohibitively expensive to shoot in volume, which is what is required for you to be like good. Is supposed to be multi-role in nature, but does none of those things particularly well. Why do you guys think, especially in the civilian market, does it still exist in the volume that it does?
It sounds good on paper.
So it sounds good on paper. American 7.62 by 39. I really truly believe that's it. And then the FUD lore that's surrounded it.
Yeah, it's Fudlorn memes.
I think that this is rooted because
And Haley's strategic.
I think that this is centered around the AK and the MP5. Like, no shit. And the entire reason that this caliber exists is because people suck with both of those guns. And nobody got over it.
Again, it's one of those things where if you're one of these people that all you do is just read the internet, you're like, man, I can get an AK or I can get 300 Blackout, which on paper looks the same as 7.62 by 39. And I don't have to get a new magazines. I don't have to get a new platform. I can just run this. It sounds great on paper until you start to use it, and you're like, man, this thing blows. So there's kind of like two camps, in my opinion. You got the people that run it for a while and realize how bad it sucks, and you got the people who don't run it, and you're singing its praises because you read Reddit.
Yep.
You've read a lot of Reddit, and Reddit says it's great.
I think that this is a massive lack of hard skills and willingness to go develop them. Honestly. And this is kept alive because the concept sounds nice, as you said.
Yeah, it sounds amazing on paper.
Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, like me personally, right? I'm constantly preaching like you need hard skills and that sort of stuff before we do the tactical thing, right? I'm not sure if you saw my video on the gauge. There's a metric that we have that requires a particular accuracy metric. You have to have a certain amount of weapons manipulation that isn't like too slow, that sort of thing. And within this, right, like the rifle portion of that was based off of an iron-sighted Draco in 12.2, and the reloads are the reloads at that time, right? And a lot of people, you ask them for a sub 4 second reload out of a 30 caliber AK, and they'll look at you like a dick is thrown out of your forehead. That is impossible. The gun's too slow. No, I think you just suck.
Yeah.
And this is just a result of people that that are basically allergic to work hard, trying to solve all their problems with one gun.
Yeah.
And that's the wild thing about it too, is that 7.62 by 39, at least in my eyes, if we're trying to make a 30 caliber salting cartridge do a bunch of stuff, it is superior, at least to me, in every way. Lemon, you and I talked about this or exchanged text about this not too far back. Fun fact, there is not a whole lot of loss between a full-sized regular ass AKM and a Draco C that is 12.2. No. It's just not. It even sounds about identical to a regular ass AK when you fire a shot, assuming you actually have a muzzle device. Right. Me personally, right? As far as home defense and that sort of stuff is concerned, where do you live? Right? Because overpen is a thing, right? A lot of 30 caliber stuff will overpen too. Like, for instance, just in general, like 30 caliber pistols will overpen if you compare it to a lot of modern 5.56 loadings, right? Like, for instance, and I know I keep landing back on this, but Mark 262 basically disintegrates when it touches anything. Right, like that jacket peels right off of it. Don't shoot a deer with that. You will never find all the fragments until you're trying to eat it. Ask me how I know. But like, yeah. So if where you live is made out of friggin' paper walls, you might not want 30 caliber anything defending your house.
If you live in an apartment, don't do that.
Don't do that, right? Because the jacket and hollow point in that pistol sounds like a great idea until it fills up with drywall and then just does whatever it wants.
Yeah.
Should have ducked.
Yeah, should have ducked. Lady that just found out that her cancer is in remission or something.
Yeah.
You thought that you were gonna relinquish that friggin' parking spot. shows you.
I got a stupid story about that. We had a family friend growing up who decided he's going to quit smoking, get in good shape and whatnot because he didn't want to die of cancer and whatnot. Went out for a run the first day, got hit by a Marlboro truck.
Jesus Christ.
I thought that was the funniest thing, and as a 15-year-old, and apparently that was not a funny thing.
That
wow.
is, yeah,
All right.
wow.
Life sucks sometimes.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
He was a cool guy.
Get a helmet.
Yeah. So fun fact on the PSA thing, right? The full size guns have a tendency to do fine. Like the pistols have a tendency to do fine if you didn't mess with them. But man, we saw a bunch of micro daggers one day just all die at once. It was like
amazing.
One broke in half, and then it was like contagious, and it just started spreading like it was a smallpox blanket, and then it just started friggin' dying.
This is my thing on the daggers. All right, the dagger is just a Glock clone. It's like you went to Las Vegas and you have the option of seeing Elvis or an Elvis impersonator, and the tickets are the same. Why are you going to buy a ticket for the Elvis impersonator when you can see the real deal for the same money?
Oh,
right?
I got 20% off of the impersonator, you see. It's just a
Oh,
cover
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just
15
as good.
bucks, right?
Just as good.
It's just
Just
a cover
as-
song. It's fine.
It's just as good.
Now, I will say,
it annoys me.
I will say on the cloning stuff, you'd better clone enough stuff just right. Like, I like the RXM. I do, because they did enough cloning stuff right, but they changed up enough stuff to make the optics system pretty good. Right? But in a dagger, where your pins are not
Falling
straight
out.
pins, yeah, just
Roll
falling out.
pins for some reason.
So you eventually got to beat those things out of that polymer frame. That's, by the way, pretty soft. And it'll flex. And then suddenly I had a short Glock 18, which is fun.
You sure did.
Oh, this is a good one.
It is a good one.
Only 2 for life.
2 for
AR
life.
and 5.56 if you live in America.
Yep.
I literally can't rate any of these. I'm sorry, guys.
Interesting convo. If each of you could just have 2 rifles, which would they be? Only 2 for life, all purposes, including rifle caliber, pistols.
Well, Lemon said.
Yeah, I mean, one of them going to be a 5.56 AR for me, preferably 20-inch, and the other one's going to be probably like a AR 308 in some sort, just because 308 is pretty prevalent, and sometimes you might want to reach out and touch something.
Never mind. I take a 16-inch AR and a 10.5 AR and 5.56.
Yeah, I would do. I would probably do my 16-inch AR, and then I'll go contrary just because I'm on the kick. I would do an MP5 with an FRT.
So, me, I might sound a little hipster on this, but the AR I want to be the AR I want to be as multifunctional as possible, because I can make it work, like based off of the stuff I've shot in the past, knowing holds, knowing how a crosshair reticle works on a 4-power ACOG. I'm gonna do a 13.7 with a surefire muzzle device on it, right? And it's gonna be probably a Super Duty, in all honesty.
Yep.
Just because the prevalence of like aftermarket parts that can supplant or replace the stuff I break. That rail tabs into the upper, so if I have to go do owl vision stuff, right? Geisley, like regular AR Geisley rails are just 416 rails with extra steps, so I'm not as worried about laser drift if I've got to do that, and that fills the vast majority of things that I want to do with it. And then after that, like, yeah, a light equipped MP5K. Probably a T2 sitting on it too. You have a tiny light hanging off the left hand side. I don't need a friggin' pressure pad with something that small. And if you think so, you're dumb. And then just roll with it, right? So that's literally every base I could possibly cover with a long arm. And if it doesn't do it well, you can make it work with that, right? Like, I can shoot stuff to keep me alive. And regardless, right, if I have to take game or deal with two-legged predators, whatever it is, right? And then if things step up and I'm in a small space, I got it. And every other conceivable thing that I would really need it for, yeah, the AR's got it covered. Even if I have to deal with like, oh god, there's a bear or something, cool. My 13-7 is a third switch, and that bear's going to have enough problems with 30 rounds because I can keep the gun down, right? Lemon is not the biggest fan of infantry automatic rifle stuff. We actually had a short talk about this before, where I'm all about like give me the press in 7, right? And he's less so on that side of the house. But I just think that we're at different. We're achieving the same task just with different methods.
I like the AR, the IAR. I love, I'm big into it. It's just when you get into a magazine fed automatic rifle, ammo conservation, in my opinion, is very important. Because I mean, if you're carrying it in magazines, the most you can probably carry is like what, 10 magazines of 40, 400 rounds before you just become this immobile boat anchor. So having something like an FRT or full auto, you're going to blow through that ammo like really, really quick, especially if it's your first oh shit moment. It's like, having like a light semi-automatic trigger that you can just like rip shots really quick. I understand it goes against the purpose of support by fire, but you're going to still get pretty good amounts of ammunition out. You're going to be able to keep that on target, and you're going to be able to make your ammo last a long time. That's just my philosophy on it. Whereas, I've been to a light support weapon class where guys had FRTs and they're just blowing through ammunition. It's like, okay, great, you just lost all your ammunition like the first 30 seconds of this conflict. What are you going to do now?
Yep.
This is kind of where I'm coming from with it. Just having the slower rate of fire just keeps you on target better effects on target, and it makes your ammo just last a little bit longer. And then you're not blowing your ammo away if you're in panic mode the first time you're in an ambush, which happens to everybody. I don't care who you are, how well trained you are, how badass you think you are. The first time that somebody takes shots at you, you are shitting your pants. And the only thing you want to do is put out as much ammo as possible.
So and I have I'm approaching this as a different brained 249 guy, basically, right? Because we're solving the same problem, right? To me, the psychological impact of a guy, like you can tell when you're in a rifle fight, right? You hear the beep bop and dudes are taking like individual rounds at you, and you can tell when it's accurate. The psychological impact of a guy getting hit is, oh shit, my friend was hit, versus a guy that got hit by like very obviously automatic fire and it's deadly accurate.
Yeah.
Like my philosophy on it is, if I can chew through the people causing me a problem a little bit quicker with the fire maneuver stuff, although it's not as picture perfect as people think it is, it's just not. Like when it opens up, whatever's in your gun is going that way. You hit nothing, but now I know what to do after this as everyone chills out and we're starting to load guns again. But that said, right, if you get to the point where you can keep your brain cycling with the ability to also put out like deadly accurate bursts, it's the same thing. And you notice that both of us are being like, you got to be accurate as shit with this.
Yeah.
Right.
Otherwise, it's a waste of ammo.
Yeah. Like it's sort how we'd like to solve this problem is kind of like how somebody solves a low gas tank problem. Some guys get really slow and they turn off all the extra shit in the car and they roll the windows down and they're trying to coast into the station. Some guys speed up to try and get there as quickly as possible. I am on, and while that's not quite analogous to what we're talking about, I'm on the higher rates of fire, demolish this guy right now kind of a deal person. So it just is what it is. And you'd be interested in hearing this. Leg patrols are walking around with shotguns now, and guys are on air watch. Just to deal with that, right? And now there's 5.56 anti-drone munitions, which I've never seen in practice before. I have questions, right, about how that works. But you know that is what it is. Holy shit, we're rolling in now. Yeah. My job is to understand, like, because like both Lemon and I have been placed in this situation before with 249s. It's like after if someone didn't tell you, you realize really fast. I exist to draw attention, right? And to lock down terrain features. So you know, if it's the personal stuff, that's when you're really, really conserving as much as you can. But oh God, don't do that. Chris, what is your opinion on strobe white light? I've heard snippets of it. No, don't do that.
Turn
great.
that off.
It's great for disco.
Yeah,
If you want,
turn that off on your stream light.
Yeah, program that sucker out and just put the whole sun in his face. Keep it on his face, and if you got friends, make them do it too. That's it.
It's cool. It's cool to find out if you're epileptic.
Yeah, and here's the thing: any bedazzling effect that you might have on a guy, that's all cool in theory. But the second that he starts moving, you're confused too, because now it seems like this guy can teleport.
Hey, Chris, I hate to do this to you. I gotta bounce out of here. I gotta get up at 3 a.m.
No, that's fair. We're rolling up on 2 hours anyway.
I'm sorry, boss, but thank you for having me, guys. All right, Lemon, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Yep. Have a good night.
Nick, pleasure meeting you.
Yes,
all
sir.
Right.
Take
Y'all be
care.
safe. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, man. Take it light. Well, that's a pretty good place to, I think, stop here anyhow, because this is when I figure out that we fast start to just sort of ramble on. We
I can ramble all night.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying, right? Like eventually I have to be a big loser and love my family like a loser.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think we more or less made our point here, right? Like, I think somebody had to say it, like with their whole chest instead of sort of implying it. The caliber is just not a good idea.
No.
Really. If you value training, if you value actually developing skills, if you value not being just fucking annoyed, the caliber is just not worth it.
Nope.
I mean, it's a novelty to me. It's a novelty caliber.
Yeah,
you know, I call it AR fatigue syndrome. You know, you've built like assembled like 4 ARs. You're getting bored with them, so now you can just throw a 300 Blackout in the mix just to spice it up.
Yeah, restless gun syndrome is real.
Yeah,
it is. I've tried to convert that to, well, yeah, but you really sucked at your last pick, the performance evaluation set of whatever, right? I try to put my restless attention onto that, and then I just over apply myself to that shit, because oh my God, I am horrendous at critiquing myself.
Well, it's like today I was for no reason at all, I was looking at BCM 14-inch uppers. It's like, oh man, they're on sale. And then I realized, wait a minute, I've got a 14.5 BCM right over there. Why am I going to spend another $800 just to have another BCM 14.5 upper?
See, but
then I noticed the 12.5s are on sale too.
I've said this to myself 1,000 times, where it's like, man, but this is shiny and new, and I've never had an all black rifle before.
Yeah.
Right.
Get one in purple.
True.
Yeah. But hey, look, it's been a great time. Everybody that came out, holy shit, the super chats really missed the fact that I guess you guys really missed the fact that we didn't do this last month. And we held it pretty steady. We had for this channel anyhow, I know it's not very big. We held a record at 200 for like most of the stream, which is pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah, for a guy that doesn't stream ever, 200 people watching the whole time is pretty neat.
We're not just covering drama.
That's a whole other thing.
For sure.
Yeah. You know, that is what it is. And yeah, new stuff is cool until you start running a gauge and it starts whooping your ass, and you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe this wasn't that hot.
There's that.
You know? But in any case, guys, I appreciate you coming out. Viewers, Chat, you guys have been great. Asked a lot of really good questions and made a lot of really good comments. And thank you, by the way, chat, for helping us find names to things. Holy shit, we were not very good on the what was this company name game today.
Some of us are very old.
Yeah.
I mean, just reaching back there and like when we were talking about when like I first joined the army and like you're at reception, you see XM8 posters everywhere. Most people didn't realize how close we were to adopting that fucking thing. But in any case, before that turns into a big long story, I appreciate everything, everybody. Thanks, Nick. Thank you, Lemon.
Yep.
Firearms and Fitness. I know you fucked off, but thank you too. We'll see you guys next time. Take it light, everybody. Bye.